Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mixed Media Mayhem, where we are supposed to be using chipboard, metallic, and ink. This is our sketch for 31 Days of Sketches by Melinda Barkman. And I have this paper that I did mixed media on quite a while back, I think last spring. And I had sprayed a stencil that was the opposing or opposite piece of this, like the negative space of this, and then I took the stencil, flipped it over, and this is the ink that was left on the actual stencil. And so I just tore that in half, put it one half on each page, and then I am using a bunch of different inks from the Distress Oxide inks, sorry, distracted, from Tim Holtz. And I'm using, I think, Shabby Shutters, and I'm not really sure, but I'm going to hold them up in a few minutes here. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think Peeled Paint, but I could be Bundled Sage also. Anyway, I am using those through these stencils from Heidi Swapp. I have used these stencils a number of times for travel to the Caribbean because they are beautiful leaves that are just really large, and finding stencils that have leaves that large are kind of hard to find. So I keep using them. They're just the cardboardy kind of stencils, and they've been holding up really well, and I love them. So I am doing that. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue down my papers to each side, and that's going to allow me to go ahead and put my stenciling down on the left-hand page. I have really lightly marked out where my photos are going so I can tell where to place my stencils. I just do that by lifting the edge of the photo and tracing a light pencil line, you know, maybe 1/4 of an inch, or, you know, could be even a little bit more than that in underneath the photo, so I can have a little wiggle room as to the placement of the photos. They don't have to be super exact to line them up again. To cover up those pencil marks, but it gives me kind of just a placement so I know where to put all of these leaves. So I'm liking how that's looking. I will put links down below for the products that I'm using. These ink applicators are just off of Amazon. They're really, they work really well, and they weren't super expensive or anything. I have said this a few times in previous videos where I've used them. I wasn't really sure if I was going to like this type of a applicator, so I didn't want to invest a ton of money on it. So I just bought some inexpensive ones on Amazon to see if I even liked the way that you hold them in your hand. And I actually like them a little bit better than my other ones, mostly because for these large surfaces, it's got that big, large, flat brush on it, and so you can apply ink really quickly through your stencils, especially the stencils with the big openings or large surface areas where you're going to be applying a lot of ink. I feel like it takes a long time to use my smaller brushes, and it's a lot more work. So anyway, I really like the way this is coming out so far. I do happen to be at a friend's house while I'm working on this. I packed up my photos and my supplies for this, and took it to her house to visit while we are working, or while I'm working on it. She's not working on it. So you'll probably see my hands kind of flying through the air while I'm talking or whatever. Apparently I do that. So here's my chipboard. These are from Dusty Attic. They've been in my stash a while. I got them from MK quite a while back. I don't know if she still has these in stock, but if she does, I will link them down below. And I am just pulling the leaves. As you can see, this bottom one, I've already used quite a bit from it, except for these leaves and the window frames and some of the heart buttons. A lot of the rest of it I've already used. Actually, the rose, the little circular pieces, I hadn't used those either, but they are free because they're floating around free in the packaging. They're not free as in, you know, you don't have to pay for them. They're just floating around free in the packaging because at one point I was going to use them for a project. And I did leave everything in the carrier sheet while I inked it up because I felt like it's easier to ink it that way. I don't get my fingers messy, and I'm not going to be, there's there's no other images that are right next to it, so it doesn't really matter if I get ink all over the chipboard. The inks that the inks that I was using right there was their Prima inks. And those have been in my stash for a very long time. I don't know that those are available anymore, but they're great because they're like chalk inks and they're really small, so you can just throw a whole bin of them in your bag really easily, and they don't take up a lot of space. I did just use another stencil. It was, I think I'm trying to remember if that one was Art Anthology or if it was Pear Tree. I think it's a Pear Tree cut file one. I'm trying to look here because I have not put them away. It is. It's from Pear Tree Cut Files. It's called Completely Dotty. I'll try to put a link for that down below if it's still available as well. And then I considered using those frames, but I didn't end up using them. But I did think about it. I was trying to figure out if I was going to use them or not. And then I'm going to speed it up really fast while I pull out a whole bunch of ephemera. Most of this ephemera is from the 49 and Market Sunburst collection. And so I just sped it up really fast because you can't really see what I'm doing. Just pulling out a ton of ephemera that I think might work. Anything that's kind of in that hot pinky, not really hot pink, but that bright pinky color, because the flowers are in that color, which totally matches the flamingos. And then I pulled in some blue things because there's a lot of blue in the photos as well. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to use, but I just kept pulling things in here and there. And then I started building little clusters out of them, just with the things that were sitting right on the desk. I do have this corrugated paper. I just had a little scrap of it in that same bin with the 49 and Market stuff. So I thought I'll bring some of that in for a little added texture. I think it's going to look really cool. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of building those up. I know I'm covering up some of my stencil work with those leaves, but that's okay. That's just how mixed media goes, you guys. You're going to cover up some of it, even if you mark out where your photos go and all of that kind of stuff. You know, unless you know exactly where all your ephemera is going, or your embellishments, you're going to cover something up. And that's okay. It's totally okay with me. Like I said, most everything is from 49 and Market with the exception of that piece that says, let's explore, and it has the ship's wheel. That is from the Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Coastal collection, which I have just a few odds and ends left of that, including that little tag that has the birds on it and the lighthouse. That's from that collection also. And so yeah, I'm just kind of figuring out where I want things. I am also going to be adding a couple of pieces of wood from MK's shop, Some Assemblage Required. You're not going to see that until the very, very end. I had packed it to go with me, and then I could not find it while I was at my friend's house. So when I got home and I unpacked everything and I found it, I went ahead and added them on. They were totally intended to be on there, but yeah, I could not find them while I was there. You know how that goes. You put it in a bag and then you're like, which bag did I put it in? And where would it have ended up? And really, it's kind of silly because I only brought 2 bags plus my computer bag. It wasn't even a whole lot. But anyway, so my metallic pieces are those stick pins that have leaves on them. There's 3 that have leaves. I don't know, maybe they look like feathers, but they're pink and green. And then one has a heart on it. And so I went ahead and pulled those in. That's going to be my metallic pieces because I guess the shaft of the pin is actually metal. So that's going to work for me. I don't know if that's kind of a cheat or not, but I'm going with it. Also, the flare is a flattened piece of canvas flare from Scrap and Happy Studio, that flamingo flare. So technically it is metal inside as well. I just run it through my die cut machine to flatten it out. And it's not perfectly flat, and that's okay, but it's a lot flatter than it would have been originally. And I kind of do that with all my flare these days. I actually kind of might flatten it before it goes into my stash. Yeah, it's not something I kind of decide while I'm making my layout. When I get the flare, which I haven't bought flare for a little while now, but I went ahead and just flattened all of it because that's the way I like to use it. So, yeah, fun stuff. If you don't like your flare flattened, that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with leaving it dimensional. But I felt like on top of other pieces that might include chipboard or wood veneer, it's going to be pretty bulky if I don't flatten it. You can also flatten that corrugated cardboard right through the die cut machine as well, and that's going to kind of give you a little bit less bulk on your page. But I'm not somebody who cares a whole lot about bulk. I mean, I do care about it, but I use wood veneer and acrylic on my pages all the time, so it's not something that I'm too concerned about, as long as it's not like, you know, several layers of chipboard or wood veneer. So I'm just using a little bit of the Stampin' Up! Twine through the tags there, just to give a little bit of added texture. And you know, I don't want my tags to not have anything in their holes. I like them to be completed. And so sometimes I tie an overhand knot, sometimes I do the loop through and pull it back through on itself. It just depends on the look I'm going for. And I like the way that that's looking so far. I did decide to kind of trade out my bottom left-hand cluster for my upper right-hand cluster, because I felt like the flamingo tag on the top of the left-hand page was a little redundant with the tag in the lower left corner. And so I wanted to split the two tags between the two pages rather than have two tags on one page and no tag on the other page. So I don't know if that makes any sense or if it changes up anything or whatever. But yeah, it is what it is. The photos are of flamingos, obviously. They are in Costa Maya, Mexico. And when you walk around the port, they just have this big area for the flamingos. It does actually have a name. I think if you go check out MK's video for today, she is also doing the flamingos. And I don't remember the name because I didn't print the photo that actually has the name of the place in it, but I will be writing it down on one of the tags once I go back and revisit it and do my journaling. I don't do my journaling before I end the video, so I apologize for that. You don't get to know the name of the place, but maybe she says it on hers. Also, with regard to the sketch, I know I'm not following that sketch exactly, but I think you can see where my inspiration came from. Melinda has a whole bunch of tropical looking items on the sketch. It is a double pager with multiple photos, and that's what I was inspired to do, was pull out tropical photos and tropical elements and use them on my layout. So it may not follow the sketch exactly, but to be honest with you, when I saw that, I went, that's going to be cruise photos. And then I think in a conversation, MK and I were talking about it, and we're like, we should totally do our flamingo photos. So that's what we did. Seems like maybe a silly thing to document, but you know, I don't see flamingos every day, so I was pretty happy to see them, and it was kind of cool. I am adding that wood veneer now. At this point, I am back at my house, and it is, you know, a day later or so, and I have managed to unpack my bags, and voila, here are my flamingo pieces. Those two that are on the page came together, and then this set actually has another flamingo in it, a tree, and there are a couple of shells and a starfish. So I pulled out the shells and the starfish just to bring in some more of that dark wood grain into the other clusters that I've got going there. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I want those. I have not peeled the masking off of them yet, and so they didn't look dark when I first pull them out, but once the masking is removed, you can see they're that beautiful dark wood. And I just love the added color and texture that it brings. Now I am just tucking them in, so they are kind of behind some things. I didn't end up putting one in that small cluster, but the other two clusters did get each a, no, they're both shells. And so that is it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to check out everyone else playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem using chipboard, metallic, and ink. And don't forget to go and check out everyone playing along with 30 Days of Sketches. The links for all of that is down below so that you can go and check those out easily. Thanks for spending time with me today. I do truly appreciate it. And if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, I'd really appreciate that as well. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would hope that you would consider subscribing. Thanks so much for spending time with me, like I said, and I will be back again tomorrow with another one. So come back and see me then. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.